What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for Shivers by Ed Sheeran. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button, and the guitar we're jamming on today is called a Faith, Blood, Moon, Neptune. Guys, the first thing that you want to know to play Shivers on guitar is that in order to keep the song as accurate and beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 7th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I've linked to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing that you want to know to play Shivers on guitar is the structure of this song. We'll start with verse, then go to pre-chorus, then chorus, then we'll have verse, pre-chorus, chorus again, then we're going to have a bridge, and we'll finish up the song with one last chorus. And the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Shivers is the 4 chords that you need to play this song. The first one is E minor, the next one is C, the next one is G, and the last one is D. And I'll have short chord tutorials for all of those linked in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Shivers. Guys, I'm so stoked to be getting to Shivers. This is such a groovy, fun, jammy song. It's actually really beginner friendly to play on guitar. And I'm stoked to get this one a little sooner out than I got Bad Habits out, because I took way too long to make the tutorial for that one, and I wanted to get to Shivers as quickly as I could. So with that in mind, the first thing that we're going to take a look at for Shivers is that little picking pattern that repeats through pretty much the whole entire song. It starts in the first verse of the song, and it plays through pretty much the whole entire song except for the bridge. So all the verses and all the choruses, and I believe the pre-choruses as well, this little picking pattern is going to repeat through the background of almost the entire song. So let's break this down. Most of it is on the high E. We will have a couple notes on the B string as well, but we're going to start here with a high E open, 3rd fret on the high E, 5th fret on the high E, 7th fret on the high E. That's our first little section. We're going to repeat that again, the same exact thing. So all on the high E, open, 3rd, 5th, 7th. This is where it's going to change up a little bit after we finish that part. We're going to go to 3rd on the B string, 3rd on the high E string, 5th on the high E string, and then 7th on the high E string. And then our last little section here is going to be 3rd on the B string, 2nd on the E string, 3rd on the E string, and 5th on the high E string. And that's going to finish it up. It's a very simple little picking pattern. It's pretty repetitive. The first 2 sections are exactly the same, and then the last 2 sections are very similar. So nothing too crazy here, guys. Just a pretty simple picking pattern. I'm not going to play through this very slowly because it is that easy. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time playing it really slowly. So a couple of times full speed through the picking pattern. It's going to repeat through the whole entire song. Will look about like this without me talking. From there, guys, we're into what's being played for the chord progressions and the strum patterns that are used through the rest of the song. Now, one thing that makes this song super beginner friendly is that we're going to use the same chord progression through the whole entire song. That chord progression is going to be E minor, C, G, and D. Repeated through the whole entire song start to finish. The only thing that's going to change depending on where we're at in the song is what we're using for our strum pattern. So first, let's take a look at the strum pattern that we're using for our verses, because that's the first thing we hear in the song. For our verses, we're going to do 3 down strums repeated 4 times for each chord. And it'll look kind of like this. We'll start with our E minor chord. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Kind of like that. Just 3 down strums, 4 times for each chord. Pretty quick with a little bit of space in between. Nothing too crazy here. And again, the chord progression is very beginner friendly. It's probably the first chord progression a lot of you learned on guitar. It's one of the first ones I learned on guitar. So nothing too crazy here. Like I said, each section has a little bit of a different strum pattern, but they're all very beginner friendly. So really groovy. I love this song for beginners. So with that in mind, the chord progression and the strum pattern that we're going to be using for our verses on Shivers will look about like this without me talking. From there, we're into what's being played for our pre-choruses on Shivers. Again, we're going to have the same exact chord progression, E minor, C, G, and D, repeated through our pre-choruses. We're just going to switch up our strum pattern a little bit. So for our strum patterns for our pre-choruses, we're going to use up, down, up 4 times for each chord. And it'll kind of look about like this. We'll start with our E minor. We'll go up, down, up, 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 up, down, up. Up, down, up, 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 up, down, up. So very similar to what we were playing for our verses, we're just switching it up a little bit, and it's getting a little bit louder and bigger too. A lot of this song is a build, so the verses are pretty low key, and you can kind of play those softly. And then as we get into the pre-choruses, it gets a little bit louder and starts to build, and then obviously the choruses are where it gets really, really big. And so yeah, really similar to what we were playing for our verses, we're just switching up our strum pattern a little bit. So a couple times through the chord progression and strum pattern is going to repeat through the pre-choruses on Shivers will look about like this without me talking. From there, guys, we're into my favorite part of the song, which is the choruses. For the choruses, again, we're going to be using that same chord progression, E minor, C, G, D, repeated through all of the choruses. But obviously, again, we're going to switch up our strum pattern here. So what we're going to be doing for our strum pattern for each chord in our choruses is going to be this. We're going to play down, up twice, but spaced out. So it's kind of going to look like this. We're going to go down, up, switch, down, up, switch, down, up, switch, down, up, switch. Just like that. It's going to be down, up twice for each chord with a little bit of space in the middle. Now, nothing too crazy here. If you've made it this far, this part is going to be an absolute breeze, especially if you're familiar with the song. One thing I will say that I like to do in this part is I like to add some chucking in. If you don't know what chucking is, it's just adding kind of some muted strums in between the strums that you're actually strumming on the chord. That might sound a little confusing and intimidating, but all that means is it kind of plays out something like this. Using our E minor as an example, we're going to go down, up, and then I'll go chuck, 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 down, up. Kind of like that. Just adding some muted notes. A couple ways that you can do that is you can do what I'm doing here and rest your fingers on the strings softly when you're not playing, and it'll give you that ch-ch-ch-ch sound. You can also do kind of some palm muting type of things here where you rest your hand on the bridge whenever you're not playing the full chord strum. You can kind of go and get that same ch-ch-ch-ch kind of sound just by resting your strumming hand on the bridge area or close to the bridge area of your guitar. So you don't have to do that, but I think it adds a lot to the song, especially if you're just jamming on this on acoustic guitar. It gives it a lot of percussiveness and makes it a little extra fun to play. So I'm going to play through it that way, but all you have to do and remember is just to play it down, up, twice for each chord in the chorus with a little bit of space in between each one. So a couple times through the chord progression of the strum pattern, it's going to repeat through the choruses on Shivers will look about like this without me talking. And finally, guys, that's going to bring us to what's being played for the bridge on Shivers. For the bridge, we're actually going to use a combination of kind of what we were playing for our chorus, as well as what we were playing for our pre-chorus. Now, we're going to play through the chord progression, the same chord progression, E minor, C, G, D, twice. We're going to play through that chord progression just twice. The first time we play through that, we're just going to use a single down-up strum for each chord. So it'll kind of look like this. We'll start with our E minor. We'll go down, up, some space, down, up, space, down, up, space, down, up, space. And then we're going to go into the second time through that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to switch to exactly the strum pattern that we were playing for our pre-chorus. So up, down, up, 4 times for each chord. This bridge, just like the song, is a build. So we're going to start the bridge pretty quiet, soft, mellow. And then by the time we get to that second line of the bridge, that second time through the chord progression, we're going to have this pretty built up, and it's going to be pretty loud and pretty jammy. So same thing, like I said, we're just playing exactly the same thing we did for our pre-choruses, but that second time through the chord progression on the bridge will look about like this. Start with our E minor. We'll go up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, C, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, G, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, D, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up. Just like that. And after we play that last time through that D chord, we're going to go straight into that last chorus to take us out of the song. So nothing too terribly crazy here. It's just combining a couple of strum patterns that we've already used and then that same chord progression that repeats through the whole song. So guys, with that in mind, one time through the bridge chord progression and the 2 strum patterns we'll be using for our bridge on Shivers will look about like this without me talking. And guys, that is everything that you need to know to play Shivers on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helps you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 885 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, they could not be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see what I'm up to between lessons, you can hit up my Instagram at the Groovy Guitar Dude. And lastly, guys, if you need a little extra help with this lesson or any other aspect of beginner guitar, you can hit up this link right up here to book a one-on-one lesson with me. Guys, Shivers is such a fun, jammy song, and I'm so stoked to share it with y'all. I knew as soon as I heard this song, I needed to teach it to you guys as quickly as possible. I took way too long to teach Bad Habits. I just posted that one a few days ago, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take that long with Shivers this time. It's a really groovy song. I know there's a ton of people that are gonna wanna learn this song, and so I learned it as quick as I could, and I'm sharing it with you guys as quick as I can as well. So it's a super fun song. It really is pretty beginner friendly. friendly, even though this probably kind of is a longer lesson, because again, we have that really simple picking pattern that repeats through the whole song. Nothing crazy there. Anybody who's your first day playing guitar should have no problem getting that down. And then the chord progression we're repeating through the whole song is really beginner friendly as well. Now there are some other ways to play this where you either don't capo or you capo a little bit kind of lower on the fretboard and get a little bit more of that kind of bassy punchy tone. But the cool thing about capoing up to the 7th like this is that you get rid of all of the bar chords. So the chords that we play capoed up to 7th are some of the easiest chords you can play on guitar, which makes this perfect for beginners. So literally, even if this is your first time playing guitar, if it's your first couple of days of playing guitar, I would recommend that you learn this song, because the chords we use in this song and the picking we use in this song are all very beginner friendly. It's stuff that I would feel very comfortable teaching to a very early beginner guitarist. So guys, I had a lot of fun learning this song. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.